Across the country, more than 5,000 flu tests have come back positive. Last year at this time, it was fewer than 700. The problem this year is the H3N2 virus. Just 2 years ago, it sent nearly 8,000 people to hospital and led to the deaths of 591 Canadians. So far this season, about 20 people have died. Joining us on this now is Dr. Jolene Huber. Now, she's a pediatrician and a professor of medicine at the University of Toronto. So thanks for joining us. Let's talk about the story behind these numbers.
Right. So one of the big reasons that we see a spike this time of year is purely because the influenza virus is so contagious and it can spread so quickly and so easily. So, for example, if I had it and I came in here and coughed into my hand just before coming into the studio, and then we see each other and we shake hands.
So now I've got the flu on my hand,
on
right?
your hand.
And if our floor director, Ray, comes in, I give him a high five. Now Ray's walking around with the flu, just like that.
Right.
Yeah, fast.
It can live on your hand for up to about 3 hours. So then you wipe your nose, you rub your eye, you touch your mouth, and then you could have contracted it. And same with Ray. And if you're touching your computer, it can live on surfaces for up to 8 hours. So it spreads quite easily. So that's one of the reasons behind the number. Other reasons are that we've all just gathered together for the holidays. People have been in close proximity. Another reason is that it can mutate over time, and particularly this strain can mutate throughout the season. So it's really important to get vaccinated. We know about 1/3 of Canadians over 12 get vaccinated. Some of the elderly, we want a target of about 80% vaccinated, and we're not reaching those targets necessarily. So those are all some of the reasons behind the spike that we're seeing right now.
Well, let's look at some of the areas across the country that have been hardest hit.
Yeah, so millions of Canadians each year are getting influenza each year. We have a map that of the last
where there's people, there's influenza, right?
Exactly. So this map is showing the last week of December, which is the latest numbers that we have. And what we see is that there's sporadic activity that's been happening across the country, but more localized outbreaks and widespread outbreaks in regions in Western Canada, particularly in BC, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. One area that's really been hard hit is Calgary, with nearly 40 outbreaks in hospitals and long-term care facilities. And when you look at the numbers, a lot of the people that are most affected are those who are 65 years of age or older and in long-term care facilities.
Okay, so you mentioned 1/3 of Canadians get a flu shot. Is it too late to get that shot?
So a lot of people think, it's already mid-season, but, we're solidly into the season. It's not too late. Every year, the virus changes a little bit, and we try to match up the vaccination to what's expected to be seen. And so it's important that you get the vaccination every year. It's not too late. It takes about 2 weeks to be fully effective. So you want to get that flu shot as soon as possible. But another thing that a lot of people don't know is that there's a few strains that we're protected from or immunized from. So maybe you were sick over the holidays and you think, I've already had it, but usually influenza A is one of the first ones that we see during the first part of the season. And then as that drops off, influenza B starts to pick up. And so you want to get the flu shot because it protects you against a few of those strains.
Okay, quickly before we leave you, how are some of the other ways that people can prevent themselves from getting the flu?
So we can pull up a few points that I brought along today. You want to get the flu shot early and get it every year. You want to wash your hands regularly and often and thoroughly. You want to cover your mouth when you're coughing with a tissue, throw it away, or in your upper sleeve you can cough into. You see kids doing, they learn that very well nowadays. You want to try not to touch your face, so really be conscious because that's how you're going to contract the virus. And stay at home. If you're sick, stay at home. Don't bring it to work with you. And then, as I had mentioned, the virus can live for up to 8 hours on some surfaces, so you really want to clean down your keyboards and disinfect and wipe things down so you're not spreading the virus.
And maybe more fist bumps and fewer handshakes.
Right, and just a wave hello.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Huber.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Jolene Huber is a pediatrician and professor of medicine at the University of Toronto.